food in Germany is awesome. Germans know how to eat. They know how to eat real well. They do breads really well, they do cheeses really well, and they do meat and potatoes really well. They're not a big vegetable eating culture, but that's okay because everything else they eat is just so delicious. So some of the typical dishes that you could experience in Germany on a mission or just when you go there. They eat a lot of sausage, Bratwurst, or just Wurst. They have another meat dish that's called Rouladen. Rouladen. It's been forever since I've had to say that. Rouladen. That was my trainer's favorite dish. And it's this flat piece of meat, so a thin piece of like long meat, and they usually put like a mustard and seasoning and stuff in it, and then they roll it up and tie it, and I'm trying to remember, I think they put it in the oven. I think they bake it. But it's really good. It's excellent. And that's usually paired with Rotkohl, which is red cabbage that's been in, like, some people do applesauce or apple juice and vinegar and things like that. So it's soft and warm. And then, of course, there's Sauerkraut, which is the white cabbage, and it's not sweet like Rotkohl is. But it's also served warm. But I did not like sauerkraut before I went to Germany, and now it's like one of my favorite things. So they know how to cook it. If you want to try sauerkraut before you go, make sure you eat it warm. Don't eat it cold. That's just a bad idea. And if you can, get it from like a German delicatessen or something like that, because they'll make it correctly. There's also Knödeln, which is a really common side dish to Bratwurst, and it's, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like soft balls of potato, but it's not really mashed potatoes, but I don't know. It's just good. Knödeln. And then, of course, there's Quark, which is the best thing to ever come out of Germany. Quark. It's like a yogurt-based dessert, but it's like whipped, so it's really light and airy and fluffy, kind of. But I guess it's like a mousse, like a runnier mousse. So it's not stiff like typical mousse, but usually it's a fruity flavored, and there's little pieces of fruit and stuff in it. That was probably my favorite dessert. Anytime at an eating appointment, if they would bring out Quark, I was usually pretty happy. And then, of course, they have all their bakeries, and they'd like to do a lot of things with poppy seed, which is Mohn. And I grew to really, really like Mohn on my mission. So they had poppy seeds in sweet things and in savory things. They did a lot with cheese and bread. Okay, so a typical dinner in Germany, they call it Abendbrot, which is just evening bread. So in Germany, the heavier meal tends to be lunch instead of dinner like it is here in America. In America, the big dinner, or the big meal of the day is dinner. That's where you have like your meats and your vegetables and your carbs and things like that. But in Germany, the heavier meal tends to be lunchtime. And so with dinner, they eat something really light, which is why it's just called Abendbrot. So usually their sandwiches are always like open-faced. So a typical German Abendbrot would have various types of bread that you can choose from. It would have like a cheese board out that would have all kinds of different meats and cheeses. And then you would also have, occasionally you would have some condiments, like different types of mustards or mayonnaise and things like that. And then you would just you would make up your open-faced sandwich and you would eat a couple of those and then you'd be done for the evening. And so those were really fun. I've never really been able to really recreate one here in America since I've been home, because we just don't do bread like they do. They have really good bread. Our sandwich bread is really lacking in awesomeness. And Germany has it down. So lots of cheeses, not a lot of yellow cheddar. They don't do, or like the orange cheddar. So American, they call it American cheddar cheese, and it's really expensive. But they have so many other types of cheeses. There's Gouda, there's Butterkäse, Münster, there's something Edel something. But they have lots of different cheeses to choose from, so you don't miss the cheddar cheese when you're there. So that's good.